Robin.
Nicolas Cage, how are you,
How you
sir?
doing, man? Take a seat. Make yourself at home. There you go.
Talking about the Grammys.
Yeah, we were just kind of yapping about
any
it.
of it, so
Yeah?
I'm the last guy to ask.
No, they were just saying we're...
You're a guy likes music, though, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Rock, right? You're kind of a rock guy?
Pretty eclectic.
Yeah. We're actually on, so pull the mic up a little bit.
We're on right now?
Yeah, we just do that.
Good,
We
good.
just, like, pop right on.
Nice to know.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
What
Figured
do
I'd let you know.
What do you mean by eclectic? What do you like?
What I mean
In
is
general.
I like a little bit of everything, actually. Jazz, predominantly classical, but I love 50s, 60s, 70s rock.
Yeah. The stuff you heard on the radio a million times, or?
No, I tend to... I'll look around. I'll go into iTunes and find things, and then they have that beautiful thing called Genius, and then they give me recommendations.
Right.
I just found a band called Kasabian, which I like, out of England, and then also I'm a big fan of Filter.
wow.
They really did some amazing stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. You keep tabs on still what's going on in music these days, or you kind of fall off a little bit?
I went to the Met just the other day, and I sat through 6 hours of Götterdämmerung Wagner opera by myself.
Jesus.
And it was interesting because I'm walking through the lobby, and this woman looks at me and goes, "Well, what's a Hollywood thing like you doing at the Met?" And I went, "Wow, that's not very nice."
Yeah, is that supposed to be a compliment?
No, I said, can an actor enjoy a bit of opera? And
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, you're the only one." And I said, "Well, I'm the first. There's a first time for everything." And then she said, "Well, you must be from Europe."
What the hell is...
Wow, this is sort of like you're segregating me from Hollywood.
Well, I guess the perception is that you're much too Hollywood people, much too shallow to enjoy something like that.
I guess, yeah.
I can't do opera.
You can't do it?
No.
You have to.
I just can't do it.
I understand.
I'll go classical. I'll do a few different genres, but opera's rough for me, man.
You have to really hang it with it until once you got to spend like a couple hours with it, and then you get into it. But I understand it is hard to get.
Yeah.
I went once, and they actually have like the subtitles in front of you on the seat
Which
if
is
you
great.
need to understand the story.
Which is great.
It's like
great.
because I don't know Italian and stuff.
No, it really helps because then you can understand the show. And
Yeah.
and that's what helps you get into it.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know what the heck's going on, man. It seems like one long, drawn-out song.
You need someone
Yeah.
with a Viking hat.
But if you look at it carefully, I mean, it's amazing how much has been influenced by it. Like John Williams,
Right.
Tolkien, the Lord of the Rings. All of it comes out of those Wagner operas.
Yeah.
It's the source. So if you go into it knowing that, you know you're going into like the cell, the root.
It is when you watch it, especially at the Met. They put on amazing shows there. The stage sets are astounding.
Ridiculous.
That thing that's on the stage, which is like a series of miniature monoliths from
Yes.
2001,
Yeah.
cost like $25 million.
It's amazing.
Then they had to spend another $16 million because it was too heavy for the stage to reinforce the stage. It's like, is opera really doing this well?
Who's buying opera records?
Who's paying for this?
And things are on elevators and they're going up and down and moving. It's astounding what's going on in that
place. It really
place.
was extraordinary. But yeah, no, that's what I mean by eclectic. I do like rock music very much so.
Well, rock's gone away.
Yeah, it's hard to find
It's unbelievable.
any good
It's
new
pretty
rock.
sad.
Well, you just is enormously confident always.
Yeah.
I've always loved you too.
man.
That's for
To
sure.
this day. Really quick about opera. When do you know when you've seen a bad opera?
When you're just completely bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting there, don't care about the show.
But I love the orchestral music as well, so I'm very familiar with it. So it's very hard for me to be bored with a Wagner opera.
Fair enough.
It is interesting how music like that, especially when you're watching a show and it builds, could just give you goosebumps like that.
I was crying. I was literally by myself. I'm probably the only guy that listens to opera and actually starts crying. But when Siegfried dies, he's the most tragic character in the history of anything.
Spoiler alert.
And then the effects where his blood goes into the water and it's all on the stage, and then the music, I know it, so I got very emotional. Which I was trying to quickly like dry my eyes so no one could see me crying.
Was the stuffy old broad giving you crap about that too? A Hollywood man like you weeping at an opera?
Yeah, all by myself.
Yeah, by yourself.
That's strange. And from there, I went on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
So,
you did
maybe it was tears of fear that I had to go live in like 20 minutes. You know?
What an interesting evening you had.
That's a great night.
I don't know who goes from 6 hours of Wagner right into SNL. But
you actually have to sit there for 6 hours.
6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I found it empowering. It was an amazing experience.
The longest I've sat for anything, maybe 3. Imagine having to,
Yeah. How'd SNL treat you?
Great.
Good? Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
They've done some parodies of you on that show before. Hilarious.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. You've been parodied a lot
Yes.
by people and stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you like it?
I have to go with the adage that any form of imitation is flattery.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be in hell. So I'm going to go with that.
Everybody that does an imitation of you always does the over-the-top Nick Cage kind of character that you've portrayed in a few movies. I find him very funny and kind of, accurate in a way.
Well, the thing is that Sandberg has made it his own. He has a very abstract impression of me.
Right.
You just let him do it. It's not exactly me, but it's wonderful in its own right. So
sometimes it doesn't have to be an accurate portrayal, but there's a piece of it that is kind of accurate, and it makes the whole thing work.
I think so. Yeah. So
new movie.
Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, Spirit of Vengeance. Now, you've been a part of a couple of franchises, haven't you?
This is the second one. The other one is National Treasure.
National Treasure, which all of them do very well, man.
Thanks.
They're cool movies. I like that whole puzzle kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But
what I like about Spirit of Vengeance is just how pop art the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
It really does feel like you're reading a comic book.
Yeah.
There's a quality to it that it's just a little bit abstract, a little bit artificial, and then real, but it mixes it all up. And it's pretty gutsy for a studio to make a movie that's this psychedelic.
Yeah, it is cool when you're doing something with a comic book character, because you can kind of go off of reality and people won't go like, oh, that can't happen. It's like, hey, it's a comic book.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my face is on fire.
Right.
Come on.
And that provides a context where I can go as abstract as I want, go as outside the box as I want when I'm acting. If I want to get really big, it's fine, because look, my head's on fire. And people say, well, I don't understand the Ghost Rider. Exactly. You're not supposed to understand it. He's a bad dream. Do you understand your bad dreams?
Yeah. Do you ride?
I do ride, and I love riding. Motorcycles to me are the most symbiotic relationship you can have with a machine. When you get on a bike, you are one with it. Yeah, and the Yamaha, who I do not have a contract with, I am not a sponsor, I think is the best motorcycle in the world.
Wow.
Because I can go 140 miles an hour and do it safely and tell it to stop, and it will stop safely.
Oh, man.
140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'm more a car guy. Like, I like fast cars.
Sure.
Because I think there's this false perception that you're a little safer with that metal around you than you are on a bike, but I don't think that's entirely true. It's just something about a bike that scares the crap out of me.
Well, you are safer with all that metal around you.
Oh, okay.
And
of course you're going fast.
But the Formula One guys know that the racing motorcyclists, they're really the superstars of racing.
It is ballsy, man. When you watch those guys lay it down and put their knee on
dragging.
The pavement like that.
I love that. And the guy that I was working with in Ghost Rider, Rick English, I have to give him some props here, because the man is an acrobat on a motorcycle. He's doing front endo wheelies and spinning it in circles and back. It's just mystical how he does it. I don't know.
How do you start to do that?
Yeah.
I never understood that.
Yeah.
When you see this crazy trick, you go, okay, how did you start, and how do you do that for the first time?
Right. And even skaters, too. How do they go up the ramp and then do a flip in the air and land back down, not break their neck?
Yeah, it didn't work out well the first time.
Yeah. And eventually you got to go, okay, I'm going to try this officially for the first time now.
Yeah. And it's going to go either way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's balls.
It sure is.
Yeah. Are you a car guy also? You like?
I used to be. I used to be.
During the
but
gun
I
in
think
60 seconds.
Once you get into motorcycles, it's very hard to go back to cars because nothing really compares to that feeling. Plus, you can beat the traffic. Don't you find it annoying when you see the guy on the bike who's just going right down the highway and everyone else is in gridlock?
I always fear for their lives that somebody
is going to open a car door.
Is either going to change lanes or try to move in there.
Nothing but respect for those guys. They're never in traffic. They don't have to worry about traffic.
I drive in that monster Escalade, and people don't see me. Not seeing motorcycles is just
It's a comfortable car.
I just like the size of something. So when I'm driving, especially in New York City, it's a battle with the cabs and everything. It's very difficult to drive in this city.
I drive a Dodge Ram truck.
Oh, okay.
And what's amazing about that car is it's really great for the environment because it's a diesel engine. You see?
Oh, okay.
And actually, some of these hybrid cars with electric batteries are not so good with the environment because you have to the battery eventually is going to die out, then you have to make another one, which is not great for the environment.
Yeah, batteries are very toxic and very hard to kind of get rid of. They cost a lot of money and use energy when you try to actually recycle them.
So a diesel truck is actually probably better, in my opinion.
Are you much of an environmentalist and stuff? Do you?
I care. Yeah, I do care. I don't want to see the tigers go extinct. Or I just found out that the rhino, the black rhino, is now extinct. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't like that either. But is it really like car exhaust that's doing that, or is it people just chopping down
Well, there's that, and there's also car exhaust.
Deforestation and stuff like
all
that.
Of it. It's all
I like that stuff, but I'm also from the school of thought that we're kind of on this planet, and just like everything else, we have a cause and effect, and for our creature comforts, it's going to cost something.
Well, that's true, but you can do it in a way that's prudent.
Yeah.
Just be a little bit
somewhere in between would be
considerate.
Nice.
Well, I understand.
About the trees.
Believe me, I'm not
black
just...
rhino was beautiful.
Yeah.
Why don't you want that around?
It's gone.
It's gone now. Scientists will bring it back.
When your kid says, "Daddy, I love I love rhinoceros. I'd like to go see one," you say it doesn't exist anymore, but it did just 3 years ago.
Oh man,
we lost it 3 years ago.
No, we lost it. I think this year. It was.
We couldn't save the remaining few.
It was declared officially extinct this year.
Wow. You think scientists will be able to bring that stuff back eventually?
Probably, but I don't. That's another slippery slope. Cloning and all that. I don't know what that would lead to in terms of diseases and things.
Yeah, true.
They have they're now breeding fish tomato hybrids because there's something in the fish that preserves the tomato. So they're mixing the two. What can that cause?
Oh, that doesn't sound good at all.
Doesn't sound tasty.
And there are people that believe that they're and I don't know this. I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there are people that do believe they're actually clone humans in full living.
I would assume.
I would
assume scientists all over the world that have been working on this, somebody's going to, not be as ethical as the rest. Or
what are their rights? That's what could Shakespeare do with that?
Right?
And the donor, what do they?
Does he have any say over his clone?
Does the clone have any say over his life?
Right? Yeah, his life.
And how do you turn it into an opera?
Yeah, exactly.
That's next.
Nick just sitting there crying over some poor clone. Yeah, a clone.
It could happen.
You never know, man.
Yeah, I have rights. I'm not just a clone.
That would be very odd to think that you could clone your own being, perhaps without a mind.
Yeah.
And just harvest various organs that you need.
Yeah, well, I think all this cloning talk is because just the other night on SNL, Sandberg said I was his clone. So that whole thing started it. Yeah. Got me thinking again about cloning.
I didn't see your appearance. It was a surprise on SNL.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they like to keep it a surprise. But
you come out and everybody goes, woo! I love that. Yeah, it's you.
I want to see Ghost Rider, man. I can't wait. It's fun.
Yeah.
In theaters Friday, Nick?
That's right. It's in theaters.
Spirit of Vengeance?
Friday. Yeah, Spirit of Vengeance.
And who's in this with you, by the way?
The magnificent Idris Elba.
Yes.
who's got this wonderful larger-than-life presence.
Yeah.
Johnny Whitworth. This guy is full of surprises. There's nobody else quite like him. Kieran Hines plays Satan, who you might have seen in the Rome series and any other number of wonderful British productions. Great actor. Violante Placido is the lady in the movie. Effortless, charming actress. I mean, great cast.
And what's the gist of this one?
I'm working with the church this time, believe it or not. I have to go and find the devil's son and bring him to a monastery in Turkey and have him exorcised. And that idea actually came to me because when I was promoting the first movie, I was in England. And I was dressed as Ghost Rider. I used to like to wear the leather jacket, the leather pants, and the biker boots. And on my lunch break, on a lark, I went to Westminster Abbey, not knowing that I was walking into an environmental summit between the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Pope of the Greek Orthodox Church. And there I was, sitting in the back, and then a bishop from Colorado looked at me and went, "Oh, I didn't know it was you. If I had known it was you, I would have invited you to sit with me. Let me introduce you." So there I was, shaking hands with the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Pope of the Greek Orthodox Church, dressed like Ghost Rider. and then the bishop from Colorado leans over and he whispers in my ear, "Oh, and by the way, I can be naughty too."
Whoa! So what does that mean?
And I was like, okay, what do I do with that? I thought, I've got it. Let's have Ghost Rider working with the church.
Wow, inspired like that in a second.
And then
Just
that's
like
how
that.
Spirit of Vengeance happened.
Wow.
God, you got some experiences.
I've had some experiences.
I like that.
I'm lucky.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's
Have you always been adventurous?
I try to be. I mean, I see life as a gift, and that to just sit there on the couch and watch TV is probably the biggest sin. And that you
unless you're watching your movies.
Yeah, well, that I don't do. But you need to take this time, this gift of time that we have, and do something with it and experience it.
Just stop playing around and doing nothing.
Yeah.
I like doing stuff. I just I could do it tomorrow.
Well,
no, I'm kidding, of course.
Tomorrow comes very quickly.
I know, and many tomorrows stack up very quickly.
It's starting to go by way too fast.
Yeah.
You said something in there. You don't watch your own movies?
No.
Even just once, just
I'll watch it once,
one
and
time,
then move on,
and then that's it.
Yeah,
and if there is a time where you're kind of sitting down and the TV's on and you see something,
shut it off.
Wow! Do you realize your movies are you can watch them many times?
Well, that's
They're
nice.
very watchable.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and
what's the reasoning though behind not watching?
The reasoning is that I want to move on. I don't want to dwell on the past. It's kind of like what we were just talking about.
Okay.
Like, what's next? And also, I don't want my family to see me. I don't want my 6-year-old to see me and be confused by that.
Oh, really?
Try to keep it as normal as I can.
It's interesting.
With being somebody like me.
Yeah.
I'd be bragging all over the place. Hey, I just realized, thanks to our listeners, that's Stringer Bell in this movie from The Wire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Idris Elba, right?
Idris Elba, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know his real name.
And Lambert makes an appearance. Christopher Lambert, remember? From,
Yeah, Christopher
Highlander.
Lambert. Right. Yep, Highlander. Wow. Yeah. The movie Wicker Man.
Yeah.
I liked that movie.
Yeah.
And then the end was like, holy Jesus.
Yeah.
It was did you have any reservations about an ending of a movie like that? Like,
no, I think Neil LaBute is famously known for having a kind of twisted, ironic sense of humor.
Wow.
And
yeah,
I don't know if you saw his movie In the Company of Men, and I knew working with him that we could go to some places that would really kind of push it a little bit. Now, when you go running around in a bear suit, knocking out a village of women who are blowing like Viking horns, it's somewhat absurd.
Right.
And so the flavor of that movie was a mix of being ridiculous and also scary.
The worst thing about it was the fact that right up until the end, there was this weird hope that you were going to somehow get out of that bad situation and not be horribly burned to death.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, you're just kind of like, no, this is a bummer.
Right. It's probably, if you see the original, it's probably the ultimate bummer of any movie of all time.
Yeah.
The way that movie ends is profound, the way you feel, and it goes on for weeks. I couldn't shake it for weeks.
Yeah, it's one of those that, like, it just kind of leaves you with this awful feeling. It's
the original.
It's the original. Yeah. Yours too was like just kind of what? Oh God, it's a horrible way to die. And
well, originally when I did The Wicker Man, I wanted to play the cop with like a handlebar mustache and really have one of these like macho guys who's just completely absurd, but the producers wouldn't let me do it. I think people might have understood a little more, like the bloggers and the YouTube folks, that we were kind of in on the joke if I had the handlebar mustache. But they said, look, we paid this amount for you to be in the movie. You will not be wearing a mustache. I said, well, it's your mistake if they don't get it.
Oh God,
I would love to see him with a handlebar mustache.
That would have been, that might have helped me. It's like, the guy with the handlebar mustache. Come on, it's a goof. Also, Kickass.
Yeah.
I love Kickass.
Oh,
it's such a fun and edgy movie. Being a father, did you have any reservations about the young girl using that language?
No, because I knew that movie was totally ironic and that it was a farce in many ways. And Chloe Moretz is just extraordinary in that film.
Oh, she was adorable. And just hysterical. There's something about when somebody that innocent looking is saying and doing horrific things
I
that
know.
becomes funny. It becomes you laugh at it.
Well, I think all humor comes from surprise. It comes from a level of shock on some. That's why we have things like Schadenfreude, where people laugh when somebody falls down, which is a kind of a perverse statement about society in itself.
Sure.
But there it is. It exists. And I think when people see things that just are not right, it makes them laugh.
I don't like the way people try to hide that and try to make it like we're better than that.
Right.
I think it's just basic human nature to find humor in that. I don't think it means that we all want somebody to get hurt or something, but there's something just inherently funny about somebody else's misfortune.
Well, it's a coping skill probably on some level. Like even in Spirit of Vengeance, John Blaze is much more sarcastic in this movie. He's much edgier. He's much more cynical. And I always thought of him as sort of like some of the cops or paramedics that I've met who develop this incredibly dark sense of humor to cope with the horrors that they've seen. And I mean, they say some things that you just would not believe that could come out of their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it because if they don't, they can't really handle it.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that's quite true. What did you have to go through as far as makeup and special effects on that to have your head burning?
The CGI is minimal in the movie. They dial all that in later, like clearly it's a flaming skull.
Yeah.
But in order to believe I was the character on some level and not feel completely absurd, I would paint my face to have like skull makeup. So I'd use black and white paint. I would black out my eyes so you would see no white, no people with black contact lenses. And I would walk on the set looking like that, and I wouldn't say a word to anybody. So it was just very uncomfortable for everybody. And that made it so it was like I didn't have to act, because I could see the fear in their eyes. And then it was like oxygen to a forest fire, where I just believed I was the Spirit of Vengeance.
That's something I think people have learned over the years with CGI and stuff. And I know Peter Jackson used it with the Gollum character.
Yeah.
He actually had, I can't remember his name offhand, but the actor walking around like that. And I think it does help when there's something CGI to have that other fact, someone you can act with. And
it also helps the other actors.
Yeah.
Because it gives them a chance to react honestly, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what that process was like.
Looking forward to it. When does that come out? Friday?
Friday, this Friday.
In theaters.
Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. I want to ask him about the Civil War thing. People are saying you might be a vampire.
Right.
I read this and I'm like, what?
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a long stretch.
Of course, but it's basically gone viral. I guess someone found a picture of an old Civil War guy that looks just like Nick Cage.
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage.
But I say politely that I think it's a slowed version of me.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I think so.
I've only heard about this. I got to see the picture really fast.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh my God, it's you twisted though.
Yeah, it's twisted.
Yeah, you look.
It's
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but what's funny
browsing?
about that is like people don't want to let it go. Like I went on Letterman and said, I am not a vampire. I don't drink blood. But the very fact that I said I'm not a vampire is creating some sort of viral thing. Like, well, clearly he would say he's not a vampire, so he could defend his position as a vampire.
Only a vampire would say he's not a vampire.
Right.
If I didn't know any better, I would assume that was some role you did. That's kind of creepy how much you look like him.
No,
Well, I mean, maybe-
it's twisted version, yes,
Yeah,
of course.
it's a
Like there's a little
twisted-
makeup.
Yeah.
He looks
I'm a
like he's
Civil War
had
guy.
some type of accident.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
see that.
So what is this guy is from the Civil War? Is that what they say?
I think
Yeah.
that's what they're saying, yeah.
So there's a chance that I have a relative from the South, the Deep South. in the Civil
Imagine
War?
maybe you're just related to that guy.
I'm
that's just
clearly
one of your
he could have been
ancestors.
one of my ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's pretty
But-
funny, though.
yeah,
they will not
but-
let it go.
I don't know how you go from that to vampire, but okay.
yeah. I like to know who was just browsing pictures of Civil War people and went, "Holy shit, it's Nick Cage."
What's funny about that picture is the guy was trying to sell it for actually $1 million on eBay.
Come on.
And I don't know if what he did with it, but now it's getting all this attention. Maybe he'll actually get it.
Maybe he'll hit his
I
mark.
don't know.
Sam, I'll retweet that.
You know he wants you signing that thing.
He does, well,
That's pretty. What the hell? That's a good story. You got a good story
it gives
right
me
there.
something to talk about, right?
He's like he's at it.
It's like, no, he's talking
Are you
about
trying to
Spirit
say-
of Vengeance, for God's sake.
Are you trying to say you have enough to talk about? You don't need to be discussing whether or not you're a vampire.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It was
All right.
it was in an email I got last night, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. This thing
Really?
is-
Does this
It's
even
a-
have to be addressed?
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
everywhere. Yeah.
What is it now? We're living in like vampire culture, right? Because
Yeah.
Twilight, people are really hot about vampires.
Yeah, vampires seem to be the thing.
Vampires and zombies.
But they're like sexy vampires or something. I don't know. Although
Yeah.
Dracula was kind of a sexy kind of a guy, but I'm not.
The true story about Dracula, or actually Bram Stoker's reason for Dracula would actually make a great movie, because it actually emanated from Rhode Island.
Really?
Not far from here, back during, I don't know how many, it was like over 100 years ago, when there was like a very puritanical culture, like around the time of the Salem witch trials. And this guy actually was told that his deceased daughter was haunting, the family, and he was told by, like a priest that you have to go into the tomb and open it and put a stake through the heart, and that will stop it. And that story went viral in those days, by whatever means, and then actually got to Bram Stoker, and then he connected that to Dracula or Vlad Tepes in Romania, put the two together. But it actually is an American invention.
Wow,
I didn't know
I
that.
did not know that.
That would be
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah.
Take through boy, the church comes up with some weird things to do every so often, don't they?
They sure do.
That's, put
Hence-
a stake in them, and everything will be cool.
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, I guess you're a busy guy today, huh?
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
couple things to do today, but then tomorrow I have off, and then I'll have Valentine's Day, and so that's all.
Any plans for that?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend some time with my wife and a couple of friends of ours.
That's always nice, huh? Yeah.
for you.
Where do you live these days? Is it east or west coast?
I was living actually in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, believe it or not, in the Bahamas, in Nassau. And I'm thinking I'm going to head out west again. I'm
Really?
gonna go out to Nevada, I think, for a little
Oh,
bit.
not all the way out west.
Did you have a place in San Francisco?
I used to, yeah.
All right, then my old roommate wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He lived a block from me, and he
Yeah.
was obsessed with pointing out that's where Nicolas Cage lives.
It was on Franklin Street, and man, I love
Yeah.
that house.
Yeah.
It was a strange house, because it was Werner Erhardt's house, who invented Est. And he had all these strange things where he could see people come into the room with mirror systems, and they would think that he just had telepathy.
Oh, right.
It was just bizarre.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
San Francisco is a great city.
Oh,
man.
gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, prettiest city probably in the country, but I just love New York City, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
If I could, I would live here full time.
And the Bahamas.
Well, the Bahamas are gorgeous. They just are, but it's nice to be able to say, hey, let's go to the museum and look at the dinosaur. Let's go look at some art. You can do all that.
Enough with this beach crap.
You gotta fly out to do anything really to work or anything else.
Yeah, but Nevada will be interesting because I come from the Southwest and I won't have to hear people say, how do you like our town, or where are you from, or do you like New York? Yeah, I love it. Good. And like in New Orleans. But if I go to Nevada, then clearly I'll be like home.
Yeah.
We got to get him out of here.
Yeah, he's busy, man. Nicolas Cage.
We really enjoy this. I just want to say that.
Yeah,
thank you.
On air, 'cause
absolutely.
we'll say it after you leave too.
Just talking about just anything. I like
the process. You guys have a cool process here.
Instead of just like sticking to a. Hey, let's talk about this.
We get some duds in here, and not that we struggle, but it's like, come on.
Like people that can talk about anything.
Well, this is the best way to get to know somebody.
Right.
This is what it would be like if I sat down on a couch and said hi or had dinner with you.
Right.
So
just
I'm glad you do
stuff.
it this way.
How's your brother doing?
He's great.
I see him every once in a while.
Right?
Yeah, we've crossed paths a million times.
He's doing very well.
Yeah.
Doing very well.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He survived radio. He's still doing it.
He's doing it. It's been over how many? 40 years?
Probably.
It's gotta be.
He did it when he was like 12 out of our house in Long Beach, California.
Wow.
He was a pirate. Pirate radio from the garage.
That's awesome.
That's dedication to the business, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because everyone, they destroyed the business. He made it through.
Yeah.
How many guys made it through?
No, it's true. Well, I'll tell him you said so. He'll probably hear it anyway.
Yeah, cool. All right, Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance in theaters Friday. We're all going to go check that out.
Check
that's
it
for
out.
sure. Please come by and see us again.
I will.
All right, Nicolas
Thanks,
Cage, everyone.
Bye bye.
Robin,